Yo, what's up viewers, it's your boy Blaze Hollow coming at you again with another what if. This time I'll be bringing you what if Deku ate the hormone fruit, but there's a few more things I want to bring up to you before we get into this video. First off, I want to say sorry because I'm not doing this as an hour-long special. I know you guys were probably looking forward to that, but a lot of things in my schedule will not allow me to do that, which I'm going to explain soon. The main reason why is because my work hours have been very crazy ever since I started doing HVAC again, and second is because my mom is getting remarried, so we've been trying to shuffle around our schedules around that. So I hope all of you can understand. Do know that I will be making the next few parts about this series, so with all that said, let's please get out that intro and get into it.
I honestly don't think you can become a hero.
All three of the adults in the room stood there a little bit shocked, not understanding what was going on, but Midnight was smiling ear to ear, hoping that this wasn't a dream, while Izawa was trying to figure out what happened, what changed when they left the kid alone, but the one who broke the tension was President Mike as he let out a little scream of concern. Can we please get an example of what just happened, because I could have sworn that the kid was a boy, not a girl. Midnight just shook her head, trying to focus herself. Izuku is a boy. I guess he found out the true ability of his quirk. We just thought that he can only extend his fingernails, but I guess we were truly wrong. Izuku was truly giddy, excited thinking about all the new things that she'll be able to do with her life. This is great. I didn't even know that my quirk could do such a thing. Izawa was curious on how this even happened as he looked at the shirt that Izuku was wearing, realizing that it had 5 puncture holes, which made him think of the worst case scenario. Izuku, I want to ask you something, but I want you to be honest with me. Izuku was getting worried, not actually wanting to reveal how he came across this form. Aizawa knew that he was about to ruin the mood for everybody, but he had to do what was right. How did you get those 5 puncture holes in your shirt, and can you explain to me what caused this transformation? Izuku hung her head down like she was sad. Do I really have to answer that question? Midnight got down on her knees as she just held on to Izuku. It's going to be okay, just tell us. Nobody here is going to hurt you or even judge you. Izuku was biting onto her lip as she was about ready to cry. I tried to take my own life. Midnight went pale hearing that, almost like the knife was going through her own heart as Izuku was trying to explain all this to her. But why? Don't you know that you have people here for you? Suicide is never the answer. Izuku started to break down while crying hysterically. Well, I was rejected by the person I thought that could love me, while everybody else didn't care after he took me up to the roof and beat the crap out of me. Even the adults there seemed to see me as weird, only for me to come home and find out that my own mother didn't even want me anymore. So what is there to live for? I'm disgusting and a disgrace, so I just thought it would be easier for everybody if I just let myself just disappear. But because of that, something happened to my quirk that changed it, allowed me to become what I am now. I truly do not know if this is a second chance from God or my quirk evolving, but thanks to this, I at least want to have one more chance to reset my life. Aizawa walked over to the both of them as he placed one of his hands on top of Izuku's head, trying his best to give the most comforting smile to her. Well, even though I don't like how it happened, you have been given a second chance. People like me, your auntie, and Mike are here for you, and we're going to help you become the best hero that you can be. Mike was bawling his eyes out watching this whole situation as he heard the sob story. Yeah, don't worry about it, kid. I promise to do my best to fill your life full of happiness. Midnight hugs onto Izuku, not wanting to let go, but after a few minutes she gave her some space. I think that we should take you to meet Recovery Girl. Maybe she can tell us something about your quirk. Izuku smiled, wanting to know what exactly the limitations of her quirk can actually do. Then let's go so we can figure out what my quirk can truly do so I can start training with it. After a few minutes of driving down to UA, Midnight accompanied by Aizawa, Mike, and Izuku go into the nurse's office, where they find Recovery Girl going through her medical supplies, making sure that everything is in order when she actually noticed all of them coming into her office. I wasn't expecting the 3 of you to be here so late. Who is this girl? Is she one of our students? Midnight held on onto Izuku's shoulder. No, she's my niece. I have recently taken custody of her, and something seems to be going on with her quirk, and we were wondering if you could actually do an exam for her so we could figure out what she's working with. Recovery Girl was thinking about that for a moment, remembering that Midnight had a nephew, not a niece, but she shrugged it off, thinking that it was no big deal. Sure, just have her lay down on the bed and I'll get the machine ready for her. What if my quirk is still no good? I want to hope that I have a better quirk now, but my luck is usually not that great. Midnight just gives Izuku a hug as she then looks her into the eyes with a lot of loving care. No matter what, you will be the best at what you want to be, so do not be nervous because I will always be there for you. Aizawa looked at the situation and realized what he had to do, as he wanted to make sure that Izuku's confidence would be rebuilt. No matter what happens, I have a way to help you become a great hero, so do not hesitate and be happy with what you have. Mike put on the best smile that he could make as he was starting to move his hands around like a DJ. Even if the hero career doesn't work out, I can teach you how to get into some great music and make that your career. Izuku smiled with tears of joy going down her cheek as she laid down on the medical table. After a few minutes, Recovery Girl put the anesthesia into her system so Izuku would go to sleep as the machine started to run the test. Recovery Girl then walked over to the three pros wondering what was going on. So, would any of you like to explain why a 12-year-old needs a quirk reassessment and all of you want to be here for it? Midnight had a grim look on her face, not really wanting to talk about what happened to Izuku. Well, it's a little bit complicated. Let's just say we thought that her quirk did one thing, but it turns out it does something completely different now. Recovery Girl was a little bit skeptical about what she just heard as she then watched the device take a scan of Izuku and test out her blood. I feel like there's something you're not telling me. Look, I know whatever happened is probably serious and I want to help, but I can't do that if you don't give me all the information that I need about the situation. Aizawa took it upon himself to speak up for everybody. Well, I guess we can never pull one over on you. I guess that you've already noticed, but Midnight never had a niece. She always had a nephew, but because of her quirk, she now has a niece. Recovery Girl was shocked, realizing that the person she was doing tests on used to be a he, but is now a she. Truly fascinating. Her quirk must be something to help her change her form like a shapeshifter, but I'm guessing that's not the whole story that you want to tell me. Aizawa gritted his own teeth for a second, not happy with himself knowing the story, but then he calmed himself as he spoke. I'm only going to give you the short version. She was bullied in her previous school before she was dismissed from there, and her mother decided to give all custody rights to Midnight, and a couple of hours before we even came here, she decided to try to take her own life because she felt like she was worthless. So we're just all trying to help her regain her confidence so she can enjoy life once more. Recovery Girl felt terrible for Izuku, wanting to do everything in her power to help. Well, I'll be expecting a lot more details later, but I'll do everything I can to help out Izuku from now on. Midnight had tears in her eyes, trying not to let them out. I just want to make her happy again. I saw that she was happy after the transformation happened, but for all we know, it could just be temporary. Recovery Girl didn't know what to say to that, as the devices that were hooked up to Izuku were letting everybody know that the procedure was done. As they sat there waiting for the results and for Izuku to wake up from the anesthesia, Recovery Girl came walking over with the papers. Well, according to what I was able to find out about her quirk, it's based around hormone control. By doing so, she was able to change her Y chromosome to an X, which changed Izuku to a girl. She'll have many abilities thanks to this, but she'll have to do a lot of medical research to figure out everything that she can do. Midnight was curious about what she just heard. Going off of what you just told me, Izuku's quirk is knowledge-based, but I don't know how she would know the difference between a Y and X chromosome, let alone know how to change it within her emotional state. Recovery Girl was scratching the back of her head for a minute, trying to think of the best way to explain the situation. You see that sometimes knowledge within the brain could be unlocked. Seeing that she's in middle school, she probably took a health class at least once, so possibly her mind subconsciously remembered about the chromosome change, so she was able to inject the hormones into her body to change herself. Aizawa put his hand on his chin as he thought about all the possibilities that hormones could have on a person's body, from enhancement to illness to even changing someone's height and size. So going off of that, the more knowledge that she has about hormones, the more powerful that she can become. Recovery Girl just nodded as she walked over to Izuku, unhooking her from all the medical devices. That is correct. She could be a great doctor or a great support hero. She has many different talents that could lead her to a life of success. It just determines on how much she's willing to work for all of it. Izuku started to wake up, hearing a little bit of the adult conversation going on around her as she started to sit up slowly. My head is a little bit spinny. Is this how you're supposed to feel when you get off of anesthesia? Mike hurried over to Izuku and tried to hold her head still so she wouldn't wouldn't feel too dizzy anymore. Best thing that you can do is when you're feeling dizzy is try to hold still until you can regain your balance. And try not to move too much. I know you want to get back on the dance floor, but sometimes the DJ's gotta just sit back and relax with the beat. Izuku just chuckled a little bit at what Mike just said to her. Thanks, Mike. I think I'm going to be fine now, but how did my quirk assessment go? Midnight walked over to Izuku very happy as she just gave her a tight hug. You have a very powerful quirk. You have the ability to control hormones. Izuku just had tears in her eyes, so happy to know that she actually had a useful quirk. This truly is a restart on my life, but I have one question. How do I actually use the hormones? Recovery Girl spoke up, trying to get young Izuku's attention. Well, your quirk seems to be knowledge-based. You're going to have to study hormones and what they can do to the human body. Of course, your quirk has some exceptions to the medical science, but that's just a trial and error. Izuku thought about it and realized that she needed to get a hold of some medical books and start studying up on hormones. Alright, do you have any books that you recommend for me to start studying up on? Recovery Girl wrote down some suggestions as Izuku took it. The group then left Recovery Girl's office, deciding to go shopping for a little bit to get Izuku some new wardrobe. While she was looking around with Midnight, they seemed to have bumped into a girl who had pink skin who was looking at a leopard pattern jacket. Oh, sorry, I didn't see you there. Izuku just shook her head, trying to focus, noticing the very kind girl right in front of her. It's alright, it was my fault. I was trying to find something in my size and I didn't notice you for a second. The girl started to smile like she wanted to help out with the wardrobe as she had a big sparkle in her eye. Can I help? I'm actually a really good judge of character when it comes to clothes. Also, where are my manners? My name is Mina Ashido. Izuku didn't know really what to say, feeling a little bit flustered about the situation. My name is Izuku and it's a pleasure to meet you, and since I don't really have a preference on clothes, I would appreciate your help. My auntie is here trying to get me into stuff that I'm not ready for yet. Midnight made her presence known as she was holding up a crop top that had a zebra pattern on it that would leave the stomach area exposed. Izuku, what do you think of this one? She then noticed the two girls were talking as she actually was very happy for Izuku making new friends. Oh, Izuku darling, are you already trying to make new friends? Mina was in shock to see the pro hero Midnight in the shopping center so casually. Oh my god, your auntie is a pro hero? That's amazing. Izuku was embarrassed. Yeah, she's a little bit extra. I appreciate her and everything she does and all though. She then turned to look at Midnight, and I told you I don't want to show off too much skin yet. Midnight was happy to see that Izuku had a new friend as she was trying to hold up the crop top right in front of Izuku's chest to see if it was her size. But come on, Izuku, it looks adorable on you, and I think your new friend thinks it looks good as well. Mina was getting excited, checking out some of the clothes that Midnight had picked out for Izuku to see which ones actually really look good on her. I think your auntie has some good taste. You should at least give them a try before you knock them away. After about a couple of hours of Midnight and Mina torturing Izuku with clothes shopping from casual wear to revealing clothes, they were finally able to make a compromise on some of the outfits. After they were done clothes shopping at the mall, they find Aizawa and Mike sitting on a bench like they were waiting for the girls to be done shopping. As the both of them noticed the three girls walking up to him, Aizawa got up, revealing that he had a bag, holding it out to Izuku. I got you a little something, Izuku. I hope that it makes you feel a little bit more safe when you're walking around town. Izuku opened the bag to see a bunch of exercise clothes, but when she got to the bottom of it, she pulled out a capture scarf that brought tears to her eyes, but also the biggest smile. Are you sure you want me to have something like this? Aizawa just patted Izuku on the head. Of course, because I'm going to teach you how to use it along with some of my secret technique. Mina was in awe, seeing all these pro heroes wanting to take care of Izuku. Hold on a second, I understand this might be a touchy-feely moment, but I have a few questions. You said that Midnight was your aunt. Does that make President Mike and this guy your uncle or something? Izuku turned to face Mina while she was wrapping the capture scarf around her neck. Kind of. The both of them are not related to me by blood, but they've done so much for me in the past few hours that I've started to consider them as family. I know that it might sound weird, but that's at least how I see it. Mina was truly starting to get very excited for Izuku. No, that's amazing. You have Midnight as your aunt, who is one of my idols, and then you have President Mike, whose style of heroism through music is amazing, and it truly speaks volumes to me, no pun intended. I'm actually a little bit jealous of you, Izuku. President Mike was actually very happy to meet one of his fans in person. Well, I'm truly happy to meet one of my fans. Continue to listen in so you can hear my rockin' tunes. Midnight was chuckling, realizing that Mina didn't know who Aizawa was. I'm glad that I've been a role model for you. I can definitely definitely tell by your flirtatious style that I've been a major impact on your life. Izuku was confused for a few seconds, realizing that most people actually don't know Eraserhead. Actually, it's 3. Aizawa is a pro hero known as Eraserhead, but I don't blame you for not knowing him. He usually tries to dodge the media, at least that's what my aunties always told me about him. Mina was just getting more and more jealous, wanting to know more details about this hero family. You truly have to tell me more. How many other hero family members do you have? Izuku started to smile, seeing hope for the future once again. Just them, and they're all the family that I truly need. Mina was about to say something, but then she got a message on her phone and she looked to see that it was her mother telling her to come home. Dang it looks like I have to leave. It was great to meet you, Izuku. Izuku didn't want Mina to leave. She was a great person to hang out with. Wait, before you leave, can I get your phone number so we can talk more? Both of them exchanged numbers. After about 2 weeks since the encounter, Izuku was finally transferred into a new school, and then she stepped into her new classroom to see 2 things. First, she notices Mina sitting in the middle of the classroom at her desk, but what really catches her eye is a kid with indigo hair in the back corner of the classroom by the window. Seeing that everybody was trying to avoid him, Izuku was confused about that, but goes over to Mina first. Mina, it looks like the both of us are going to be classmates from now on. Mina jumped from her seat and just hugged Izuku as tight as she could. Oh my god, this is amazing. I can't believe that we're going to be classmates. I'll have to introduce you to all of my friends so they can get to know you. Izuku was excited about that for a second, but then looked over at the boy with the indigo hair in the corner again as she was curious. Hey, what's with that guy in the corner's deal? Why is everybody trying to avoid him? Mina looked over her shoulder for a second and noticed who she was talking about, and then looked right back at Izuku. Oh, that's Shinso. He's usually a very tired person, and the reason why people are trying to avoid him is because they think he has a very villainous quirk. Izuku raises an eyebrow in confusion, thinking about how can a quirk be labeled as villainous. That's weird. Do you think that he would mind if I tried talking to him? Mina thought about it and knew that Shinso wasn't a violent person. He just might decide to shove Izuku away. You can try, but from what I've experienced, he's just going to push you away. He seems to have a lot of trust issues. Izuku walks over to Shinso. When she gets close to him, she noticed that he's looking out the window, trying to avoid the attention of anybody as he starts to feel a tapping on his shoulder. Shinso turns to look at Izuku with her vibrant green hair and caring smile, but what really caught his attention was the capsule scarf around her neck, looking similar to Eraserhead's. Shinso then sat up, looking at the girl with a very curious look. Can I help you, miss? Izuku looked into his eyes and was just concerned seeing how empty Shinso was looking just by his face. I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm Izuku Midori, and I'm hoping that the both of us can be friends. Shinso didn't really care about her statement, was just thinking about that she was trying to get protection from him because everybody tells the newbies about his quirk. Listen, if you're just trying to be friendly because of the rumors you heard, just know that I'm not a villain and I'm not going to bother you, so you don't have to pretend to be nice to me. Izuku was annoyed that he didn't even say hello in his first part of his statement. He was just assuming what she was thinking. I don't even know what your quirk is. I was just trying to be friendly. I'm new to the school and I barely know anybody here. Shinso was a little bit surprised that no one had said anything to Izuku about his quirk. Alright, let's see how you feel once you know what my quirk is. It's called brainwashing. At any point if you respond to a statement, I could take control of you and have you do things that you don't want to. Izuku goes all starry-eyed as she pulls a notebook out of her bag, ready to hear more as she also pulls out a pencil to write anything that Shinso says down. Please tell me more about your quirk. It sounds awesome. Like, does it have a range? Do you actually have to only go through questions? Please tell me more. I want to know everything about it. Shinso was extremely confused seeing how happy this random girl was hearing about his quirk and wanting to know more. He actually cleaned out his ears, wanting to make sure that he was hearing everything right. I'm sorry, I'm still waking up. Did you seriously just ask me about my quirk instead of actually getting defensive or concerned about what I might make you do? Izuku gave the brightest smile that Shinso has ever seen, while also having very curious eyes as she was just so happy to learn more about another person's quirk as she just was ready with her notebook. Yeah, I actually have a big fascination with quirks. I like to analyze them and try to figure out how they work or how they can get better, so if you wouldn't mind, can you please tell me more about your quirk? Shinso was completely thrown off guard by this girl not being afraid or trying to fake friendship, so he then decided to ask a trick question to see what Izuku would do. Well, if you tell me your quirk first, then I'll give you my name and I'll also give you more description about my quirk. Shinso knew that people didn't usually like to tell others about their quirk in fear of being discriminated against, but if you don't want to tell me, that's fine, but our conversation will end right here and now. Izuku was confused about the question, wondering why he was making it seem like it was going to be something difficult. My quirk quirk is called Hormone, and it allows me to control the hormones in the human body. I can basically change your hair color, your height, your gender, and even make you insanely sick. It's very versatile, but it requires me to do a lot of medical research, which I haven't fully done so since I've only started researching for my quirk for the past few weeks, so if I find anything else out, I'll definitely let you know if you ask. Shinso had a concerned, confused, and conflicted look on his face, wondering why this girl was just so open with him. Okay, that's a lot to take in. Your quirk is even more dangerous than mine will ever be. He then adjusted himself so he could be looking Izuku right in the eyes. Like I said before, my quirk allows me to take control of people, but they have to answer a statement that I give them, and it can be easily shut off if they bump into something. I guess the best way to put it is if I give them a simple order, and if something gets in their way of the order, they can easily cancel it out so they don't have to do what I told them anymore. Izuku was writing down everything, so happy to analyze and test the limitations of this new quirk, but was more happy to see that Shinso was talking to her. You forgot to tell me your name. I know you're thinking that I'm only interested in your quirk, but I'm interested in you as a person. Trust me that I know what it feels like to not be wanted. Shinso was concerned, wondering if maybe Izuku's quirk was making people think that she was a villain just like him. My name is Shinso, and I wanted to ask you, were you treated differently because of your quirk? Were you just like me? Izuku stopped writing, and she seemed to get a little bit depressed, remembering her suicide attempt, her chance of luck being destroyed, and her mother leaving her in the care of her auntie. No, it was not because of my quirk, but there were things that made people look at me like I was different, so I know what it feels like to be different or as an outcast by the people you think that we should trust. That's why I didn't like seeing you in the corner like this. I was hoping that that is not a weird explanation for you. Shinso felt a little bit bad, wanting to ask her more, but realized that it was a really touchy subject. Well, I guess it's a little bit weird, but then again, we're already seen as weirdo. We better stick together. Why don't we become friends? Izuku was about to say something when Mina hugged her from behind, wanting to change the sour mood into something joyful and happy. Well, if we're talking about friendship, can I join? I felt lonely since you were talking to one of my friends, Shinso, and to think that you used to give me the cold shoulder when I ever tried to be friendly with you. Shinso had his energy drop, not wanting to deal with Mina and her very hyperactive personality. It's because you drain the energy out of me just by talking, but if you're Izuku's friend, I could try to deal with you. So what do you say, Izuku? Are we going to be friends? Izuku had tears of joy seeing that the both of them really wanted to be friends with her. Yes, let's all become best friends and help each other out when we need one another. But that's where I'm going to leave it off this time, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I know that it took a while, but I was dealing with a wedding and a couple of things from work, but I do try to get these videos out as soon as possible. But with all that said, I'm out this time, guys. Bye.